Are you a mom that sometimes feel like you just need some time alone? Well, same here because I'm a true introvert, and as a stay-at-home mom and homeschooling our 3 children, I sometimes really have the need to just be by myself. And today I wanted to share with you some ways that I actually implement this into my day every single day. So let's get started. Hey, and welcome to my channel. Now, for those that don't know me yet, my name is Stephanie. I'm a wife and I'm a mom to 3 kids, and I'm a true homebody. I love being at home, and like I said, I'm a homeschooling mom, I'm a homemaker, and I just love being here. And I love to pour into my children day in and day out, and I just love being with them. But that doesn't mean that I don't sometimes need some time just by myself. Just because if you can't pour into yourself, it is really hard to pour out of yourself into your children. So it's really important to know who you are and what you need and go from there. And I am a true introvert, so I really need some time by myself, just in the peace and quiet, just some worship music on, having my Bible, or doing something just by myself. And that is what I wanted to talk to you about today, because there's nothing wrong with that. As a mom, it is very normal that sometimes you just need some time alone. And there's a few ways that I actually implement this into my day. So let's get started with number 1. Now, the first one is one that you've probably heard before and that you might not really want to hear. And that is to wake up early. Now, before you click away, let me explain this, because it doesn't mean that you have to wake up like 2, 3, 4 hours earlier. It can also be just 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be super long, but it really does make such a difference when you wake up before your kids and you have some time just to wake up and to get ready for the day and to just be available for your children whenever they wake up, that you're just ready for the day and you don't feel grumpy just because you are just waking up yourself. So what I love to do is we wake up at 5 a.m. and that has many reasons, but one of the reasons is because I really want to spend a lot of time in the morning, just me with God, in the quiet, reading my Bible without anybody needing my attention, just me and God, and just sitting on the couch and just reading whatever I want to read that day. And that is something that really helps me to pour into myself and to really get into that rest and to get what God wants me to do that day. And from there, I can then be more present and be more fun for my children. Because if I wake up because of my children, then I'm usually very grumpy. I don't like to admit it, but it's true. When I wake up because of the kids, so when they come into our room and they wake me up, they get me out of bed, I am very grumpy. I often feel like, get off of me. I need some time to wake up, guys. And that is not the way that I want to be as a mom. I want to be there. I want to be happy, and I want to be fun, and I want to be loving as soon as they wake up. So one of the ways that I can actually do that is to make sure that I am fully ready. I get dressed, I do my makeup, I read my Bible, I have some time by myself, I have a cup of tea, I have my morning drink. All those things I do before the kids wake up, just to make sure that I poured into myself before I can pour into my children. And then when the kids wake up around 6, I can just go upstairs, be there for them, help them with what they need help with, and I can just be awake and be a fun mom. And that is something that I really learned over the years, because I'm honestly not really a morning person. When I was younger, I actually woke up at 6 every single day, but as I got older, I kind of transitioned out of being a morning person. So I'm not that good at waking up early. Now, if it were up to me and if I did what I wanted to do in the morning, then if my alarm goes off at 5, I throw it out of the window because I don't want to wake up at 5. But if I don't do that, it makes my day go so much worse than when I actually do. So those occasions that we actually decide to stay in bed and to sleep in till 6:30, because that is sleeping in for us. If we stay in until that, or 6 or 6:30 or 7 or whatever it is, I feel so much worse throughout the day. And waking up at 5 a.m. makes me a more present mom, and it makes me more fun, and it makes me happier, and it just overall is better for everybody in the family. So anyway, I hope that made sense. And you know what? I wake up at 5, but it doesn't mean that you have to wake up at 5. You can also wake up like 10 minutes earlier and just go downstairs, have a cup of tea, and then go back upstairs. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, or 3 hours. It is just about being able to wake up in silence and just being able to wake up, basically. So if you want to wake up earlier, start with 10 minutes and then move up until you can maybe reach 5 a.m. if that is what you want. But it doesn't have to be that way. That is just something that I really wanted to emphasize, because a lot of times I hear people say, okay, you need to wake up at 5 or else you can just as well stay in bed because it doesn't matter if you wake up at 5:30, for example. Well, that's not true. You can wake up 5, 10, 20 minutes earlier than your children and really have that great start of your day as well. And one of the things that I often hear is when moms tell me, hey, I love that you wake up at 5. I couldn't. And I can wake up 10 minutes earlier because then my children will wake up 10 minutes earlier, and that alone time is wasted anyway because then I woke up my children earlier. Well, one of the things that you can do is actually my second point, and that is to teach your children how to play independently and to also teach them to stay in their room, which ties in with that. Because if they are capable to just be in their room, to wait up until you come and get them, and to just play on their own, to be entertained by themselves, then it is still possible to go downstairs and have that 10 minutes for yourself. So teach your children how to play independently. And that is something that you have to really teach them. And the earlier you start, the easier it is. With our oldest, I literally started before he was 1 year old. I don't even remember the exact time that I started, but it was before he was 1. And one way that I actually taught our children to be more independent and to play without me was using blanket time from Babywise. Now you can adapt that method the way you want to, but what I did is I just made sure that I put some time every single day into teaching him to play 5 minutes on his own or to play 10 minutes on his own with our oldest. And from there, we moved it up until he can now play for 2 hours in his room every single day. That is what he does, which I'm actually going to talk about later. But that is what he can do, and he's just fine. So we started with 5 minutes and we moved it up until he can now play for hours on his own. And we did that with every single child. But the thing is, when you have your oldest do that, it is a lot easier to do it with the other children. The sooner you start, the easier it actually is. And it is really, really good for their own development. And I actually did a blog post about it, and I actually taught how I did the blanket time as well. So I will link that down below, but it's really good for their independence and really be able to entertain themselves without using screens, without having me as constantly being there and giving them something to do. It is really good for children to really learn how to be entertained themselves. It is not as hard as it sounds. Just start, do it every single day, and it will turn into a habit that is just beneficial for everybody in the family. And along with that, we have quiet time or nap time every single day. So we have our lunch around 12 o'clock, and after lunch is our nap/quiet time block. And my youngest is 2, so he goes to bed. The other 2 sometimes go to bed and sometimes they play because we have sleepy kids. So sometimes my 7-year-old even goes to bed. But during those 2 hours, they are in their bed, in their room, doing something for themselves. I don't really care what they do, to be honest, as long as it doesn't involve screens and it doesn't involve a lot of noise. So what they often do is they color, or they play with cars, or they build something. Our oldest really loves Legos. So those are things that they do during quiet time. And what I really love about it is because they play independently and they don't have their other siblings to play with, they actually do very different things. Our daughter, for example, she really loves to color, but she's oftentimes distracted and taken along with her brothers. And our oldest really loves to play outside, so he often wants her to come with him. And that is fine, she often wants to, but she also really does enjoy just sitting down by herself and just coloring in her coloring book. And I really love that during that quiet time, she can actually do that in quiet. She can do something that she really loves without being distracted by her older brother, for example. And the same goes vice versa. He really loves to play Legos, but if our oldest is using his Lego set, our 2-year-old often gets into it, obviously, which is what 2-year-olds do. But having that time by himself in his room really makes it easier and makes it possible for him to actually build with his Lego set. So it is really good for all of us. And during nap time or during quiet time, I can do things for myself. So what I do is I can work, I can have time just by myself. Sometimes I don't do anything. I just grab a cup of coffee, I sit on the couch, grab a book, and just have some me time. And sometimes I work, sometimes I do some housework. It really depends on what I feel that day, but it just being alone, that alone is already something that really fills me up. So it doesn't always have to be something that is like the self-care type of thing that we hear all the time, because honestly, true self-care is just spending time with God, because that is the only thing that yourself is going to be filled up with. That is what I love to do during quiet time, and that is one of the perks of teaching our kids to play independently, because I can just do the same thing when they are around me. So I actually did a video about that, about how to make time for God as a busy mom, because you can actually have some quiet time or some reading or just me time basically when the children are around. It just means that you can spend some time on something that you really like to do. So if I want to read, for example, a proverb, I can just tell the kids, hey, you're gonna have to entertain yourself for half an hour. You can do it in the room, but please be quiet. And then they can actually do that. And sometimes they go and sit at the table and they color, or they read something, or they play with each other. But having that possibility of telling them, hey, I really need you to play independently right now, mommy needs a minute, that really does make such a difference. So teaching your kids to play by themselves is going to be such a beautiful thing that is going to be beneficial to all of you. So I really do highly recommend it. But that was my previous point, so let's go on to the next one. That is actually spending more time with God. And the reason I actually put that in here is because you can spend so much time by yourself. For example, if you have children that are all school aged and they go to school, you could potentially be alone all day, every day, and still feel like you need something. Because if you don't spend your time with God and you don't let Him fill you up and make sure that you have His peace and His rest and His comfort filling you up every single day, then you can have the amount of self-care that everybody dreams of. But putting on a mask every single day is not going to give you the rest that you need, because all you need is God. And what you need to do every day, and it can look different for everybody, but every single day you should be spending time with God. And that can look like waking up early and reading your Bible for an hour. That can be having quiet time and reading your Bible then. That can be reading your Bible when the kids are around. That can be having worship music on and praising God and worshiping God. That can be talking to God while you're doing your laundry. There are so many ways that you can actually spend time with Him, but it's such a vital part to a healthy, a good, a fun, and yeah, just an overall great life. So I really do highly recommend, if you feel like you constantly need more time by yourself, think about how much time of that do you actually spend with God. Because I truly believe that if you spend more time with God, then it doesn't necessarily mean that you need 2, 3, 4 hours by yourself. You can be filled up with His peace and His presence and His rest in 5 minutes. And those 5 minutes with Him can do way more for you than an hour doing masks and self-care things that everybody talks about. I really do want to put that on your heart. Spend as much time with God as you can. And in His Word, He actually says that we need to do life with Him. We need to spend our day with Him. We need to talk to Him day and night. We need to meditate on His Word day and night. So that means that we need to be with God and we need to do life with Him every single day. It's really important to make time for Him, because you cannot build a relationship without spending time together with the one that you love. And that is the same thing with God. We need to spend time with Him in order to become the person we want to become the mother we want to become the woman we want to become. So all that to say, spend as much time with Him as you can. So on to number 5, and that is to go out by yourself. If you really feel like you need some time alone, then go and do things by yourself. And that can be spending a night with friends. That can be grocery shopping. For most moms, that is a date in and of itself. Just being able to go to the store by yourself can feel so good. But that is something that I really think is important to do as well. You don't always have to take your children along. And that can mean that you need to spend some time of your weekend at the grocery store, which is what I usually do, because I don't have a car. We have one car and my husband uses that during the week, so I cannot go to the store by myself basically during the week. The only thing I can do is walk to the store. We are in walking distance of a big grocery store here, but walking to a big grocery store with 3 children and then trying to grab only the essentials is kind of hard. So I really love to just make it into just a moment of me time and go to the grocery store on Saturday, do it early in the morning so it's really calm in the grocery store still, and I just go there by myself, and it really feels like just a just a fun moment that is just for me. And those small moments that you just spend by yourself can do such a big thing in your life. So I really do recommend doing that, as long as it doesn't mean that you are trying to escape your family life, because that is something that actually can creep in, that you feel like you are in need of being by yourself every single day, and that you need to do things for yourself, and I need this and I deserve this. That is not a good attitude to have. If you feel the need to go out every single day and to do all those things by yourself because you need that or you deserve that, then first off, I recommend spending more time with God instead of going out. And secondly, I would talk to your husband about it. It is not healthy to want to go out of the house every single day and not do things with your spouse. So it is healthy to go out with friends every once in a while and to go to the gym. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you are trying to escape your home life every single day, then there might be something that is underneath that, and you might want to look into that. Anyway, let's go to the last point, and that is to spend more time doing things that you love and then do them at home. So instead of going out with friends, try finding things that you love to do at home. Have times where you just spend the evening doing something that you love. It might be crafting, scrapbooking, knitting, I don't know, homemaking, baking, things that you really love to do that you can do at home, because there's nothing more fun to me, but I know there's different people everywhere, but something I really enjoy is just sitting on the couch, knitting while I'm talking with my husband and just spending time together without a TV on, without Netflix, without YouTube or anything that is going to distract you. Just me, my knitting project, and my husband. And that is something that is so good for your marriage, for your soul, to just do something that you love to do. Especially if you are a homeschooling mom, a lot of times you can, in the evening, get all caught up in what do the children need to do. Maybe I can look into that curriculum. Maybe I can read this passage already because tomorrow we're going to do a read aloud and I need to know what it's about. Or I don't know, there are so many things that you can do as a homeschooling mom and as a working mom. If you work from home, if you have anything that you do from home, there is a lot of time that goes into your job. But make sure that one night a week, at least one night a week, you have some time that you just do what you love to do, and you just sit on the couch and do something that you love, because you need to have things that fill you up as a person instead of just constantly working and homeschooling and thinking about all the things that need to get done. Sometimes we just need to do nothing and just sit on the couch and do something that we like to do. So I highly encourage you to do that at least once a week and to just have that moment for yourself. And it doesn't mean that you are by yourself, because your husband can be on the couch with you, but just having that time to pour into myself, to do things that I love to do, is actually a form of self-care for me. So anyway, I really hope that this was helpful to you, that you got something out of this video, that you got some value from it, because I really do believe that there's so much emphasis on spending time by yourself, and that time, filling that up with self-care and with doing a skincare routine or things like that. But the only thing that's really going to be beneficial to yourself is to spend more time with God. So I really hope that that is the one big takeaway that you got from this video. And if you find content like this helpful, I would love for you to subscribe. I love creating videos like this. I love talking about homemaking, about all the things that come with being a mom and being a homemaker, being a wife. So if you love content like that, I would love to have you here, and I would love to see you in my next video.